Welcome to The Low Voice. Today, we're diving into a topic that feels more relevant than ever: hope. In a world filled with chaos, wars, conflicts, and even the simplest daily negativity, can we still believe in the goodness of humanity? It's easy to feel defeated when the headlines scream of division, hate, and harm. But today, I want us to pause and consider something deeper. Beneath the flaws, beneath the noise, is there still a spark of goodness? Can we, as God's creations, choose to do good, even when surrounded by so much that's broken? This is a conversation about the depth of hope and what it means to believe in a flawed world. So let's take a moment, reflect, and see where this journey takes us. Before we can talk about hope, we have to be honest about the world we live in. Every day, we're confronted by the darker side of humanity: wars that tear apart nations, conflicts that divide communities, and hate that feels as if it's woven into the fabric of our lives. Even in the smallest interactions, like a mean comment online or a moment of cruelty between strangers, it's easy to wonder, what happened to kindness, to compassion? It's not just global issues either, it's personal. We've all had experiences where we've been hurt, betrayed, or made to feel small. These moments can leave scars, and sometimes it feels like they outweigh the good. It's no wonder that so many of us are tired, cynical even. It can feel as though Pandora's box has been flung wide open, with all its chaos spilling into our lives and leaving us to pick up the pieces. But even in this brokenness, there's a question worth asking. Is this really all there is, or is there something deeper beneath the surface, something worth believing in? If all we see is chaos and conflict, it's easy to forget that hope exists at all. But here's the thing: hope isn't loud, it doesn't scream over the noise. It's quiet, like a flicker of light in a dark room. And yet it's there. I see hope in the smallest gestures: a stranger holding the door, a kind word when you least expect it, or someone standing up for what's right even when it's hard. These moments remind me that beneath our flaws, we're capable of extraordinary goodness. Think about it. In times of disaster, what do we see? People rushing to help strangers, communities coming together, and individuals sacrificing their own comfort to ease someone else's pain. That's not just coincidence, that's the depth of humanity. It's the reminder that no matter how flawed we are, there's a spark within each of us that can choose to do good. And maybe that's what hope is: not the absence of chaos, but the quiet persistence of kindness and courage in its midst. If you believe, as I do, that we are all creations of God, then it follows that there's something divine in each of us. Even in our imperfections, we carry the imprint of that divinity. But here's the paradox: we're also given free will, the ability to choose between good and bad, kindness and cruelty, hope and despair. This freedom is what makes us human. It's why we can be flawed and still capable of incredible depth. Every choice we make is a reflection of that divine spark inside us. When we choose to care, to forgive, to act with compassion, we're stepping closer to that goodness we were created for. But what happens when we choose the opposite? When we hurt, when we harm, when we act out of fear or anger? Does that mean the goodness is gone? I don't think so. I think it's still there, waiting for us to recognize it again. In the Quran, Allah reminds us, "Indeed, Allah will not change the condition of a people until they change what is in themselves." Surah Ar-Ra'd 13:11. This verse tells us that the power to transform, to choose hope and goodness, lies within each of us. In a way, the chaos around us is the test of our humanity. It's the mirror that shows us who we are and who we can become. And every time we choose to do good, even in small ways, we remind ourselves of the depth we carry as God's creations. Hope isn't just about believing things will get better, it's about creating the space for change. Without hope, we stop trying, we stop growing, and we stop seeing the good in ourselves and others. Hope is what keeps us moving forward, even when the path is unclear. It's the belief that the smallest act of kindness can ripple outward, touching lives in ways we may never see. It's what allows us to rebuild after failure, to forgive after hurt, and to love despite fear. Think about the times in your life when you felt lost or defeated. What brought you back? For me, it's often been the unexpected, a friend's encouragement, a stranger's kindness, or even a quiet moment of reflection. These moments remind us that no matter how flawed the world seems, there is always something worth holding on to. And that's why hope matters. It's not blind optimism or ignorance of reality. It's the courage to see the world as it is, with all its flaws, and still choose to believe in its goodness. It's the belief that, as God's creations, we are capable of creating something better. Not perfect, but better. So where does this leave us? In a world filled with chaos and conflict, can we still believe in the depth of hope? I think the answer is yes, not because the world is perfect, but because we're not alone in it. Every small act of kindness, every moment of connection, and every choice to do good reminds us that hope is alive. We are flawed, yes, but that doesn't define us. What defines us is the spark of goodness within, the choice to rise above our imperfections, and the belief that our actions, however small, matter. As I reflect on this story of Pandora's box, I'm reminded of one thing. When everything else had escaped, chaos, suffering, and pain, hope remained. It's a quiet reminder that no matter how dark things may seem, the light is never truly gone. So my question to you is this: what will you choose? In the moments when you feel lost or overwhelmed, will you look for the spark of hope? Will you choose to see the goodness in yourself and others, even when it's hard? Thank you for listening to The Low Voice. Let's carry this conversation forward, not just in words, but in actions. Until next time, take care and keep choosing hope.